Hello students. Uh, Today let's start a new chapter which is semiconductor devices. Means also we can call it electronic devices. So from here we are going to study the application of electricity or prism where means where we can use the knowledge of electricity and other things like capacitor resistors and other means where we can assemble with the help of which quantity and through which devices we can easily obtain any types of current. So first of all, let's see what is electronics. After that I will tell you what is how many types of materials are there. So first, electronics is a branch of physics which deals with the application of electricity and simple which deals with the flow of electron in some devices and means with the help of devices we can obtain electricity and we can use it on our daily life. So electronics provides us the applicative tools and devices which can helps us easily to make us easy our daily life, and also we can through which we can use electricity easily in our daily life. Means simple, it deals with the flow of electrons in some devices and also through which we can obtain some voltage and some current in the output, and we can use it in the various way. I think electronics, the branch of electronics is simple, clear to you. Simple, it's a branch of physics in which we apply the knowledge of electricity to the devices. So next is first of all to study the electronics we must know as you know that electricity can be produced on with the help of flow of charges means rate of flow of charges, current, simple. So how many types of charges are there, and also in which materials charges are greater, in which materials charges are low. Means as you have seen that through some materials electricity can flow easily, but through some materials it can't flow. So according to this we can differentiate, we can easily categorized it into three ways. First is metal or conductor, second is semiconductor, and third one is insulator. So basically devices are of three types, materials are of three types: conductor, semiconductor and insulator. So first, what is conductor? As you know that conductor are those materials in which conduction can be done easily. Means there can be easily the flow of electrons, and so that we can easily get the electricity from them. So such types of material is known as conductor. Means here the number of free electrons which acts as the charge particles and also the carrier of the current. Then simple, it means that charge carriers are here in a large number of in a large amount, and means the conductivity of conductor is very high. Here the number of charge carriers are very high, so that we can easily obtain through this material the electricity can pass from these easily. Because as you know that in the process of conduction electricity can pass through the with the help of the vibration of the particles. It means that simple electrons can flow through the materials. So here the those are conductors are those types of materials in which electricity can pass easily. Means conductivity of such types of materials are very high. In the same way you can also say that in terms of resistivity, as resistivity means it opposes the flow of motion of motion of charge carriers or current. So we can say that in case of conductor resistivity is very low. So simple conductors are those materials whose conductivity is very high and resistivity is very low, and their number of charge carriers are in the large amount. Second, let's see first insulator. In some materials, as you have seen that when we apply great amount of voltage, and after all that things, there is no flow of charge carrier takes place, like in woods and plastic, and there are so many materials. As you have seen that in such types of materials, electricity cannot flow. So such types of materials are known as insulator. Means simple, the conduction process means those insulators are those materials in which conduction process cannot take place. Means their conductivity is very low, and obviously conductivity is low, it means that number of charge carriers are very low in this case, or simple you can say that very few amount of charge carriers are present here, so which cannot cause the sufficient conduction. So that's why in this case we get no current in output, or means we cannot use this for conduction. So insulators are basically those materials whose conductivity is very low, or for ideal insulator you can say that the conductivity is 0 for them. And similarly you can say in terms of resistivity, as you know that resistivity and conductivity has inversely proportional relation. So you can say that in this case resistivity will be very high, means the opposed to the flow of current is very high here, so that's why in output we don't get any types of current here. So simple, I think insulator is clear to you. Insulators are those material in which there is very few number of electrons, and also conductivity of insulators are very low and resistivity is very high. For ideal insulator, resistivity is infinite, okay, and conductivity is 0. So what is semiconductor now? As from name it's clear that semiconductors are those materials whose properties lies between conductors and insulator. Means its conductivity is neither very high neither very low, neither very high nor very low. Means simple, it means that semiconductor will have the conductivity or number of electrons in the limited way, so we can use this material in the controlled way, means according to our need we can use it. So in the definition form we can say that semiconductors are those material whose conductivity lies between conductor and insulator. Means, or simple, whose conductivity is less than the conductor and greater than the insulator. Or also in terms of resistivity we can say that semiconductors are those material whose resistivity is greater than conductor but less than insulators. So its property lies between these two. Means in this case we get maximum current, we get a large current, and in this case we get only few amount of current or no current. But in this case we will get current which will be the large or not be the simple 0, but here will be some significant current. Means this property can be used in the controlled way. Means according to our need we can control here current and voltage according, means we can increase the current value of voltage and current, we can decrease value of voltage and current. Means we can have a range of voltage and current in this case. So that's why semiconductor are used in the field of electronics. Now electronic devices are based on these types of materials. So that's why we can also say this chapter is semiconductor device. Means in this chapter we will discuss about the properties of semiconductor and how can we use it for the different devices. So I think the types of materials are now clear to you. So let's see what is semiconductor material in the brief. So as I told you that semiconductor materials are those whose conductivity is less than conductor and greater than insulator. So as it has been seen that all fourth group elements acts as the semiconductor. Since fourth group elements has 4 electron in the outermost orbit, okay, means in their outer octant there is 4 electrons in the outer orbit. So it means that these fourth group elements can lose these 4 electrons, or they can absorb 4 electrons, means and they can complete their octant by both the process. So means they can show also ionic effect or also covalent effect. So depending upon the condition, depending upon the size, depending upon the properties of the these materials. So basically these fourth group elements are known as semiconductor, as here 4 electrons are present as the charge carriers in the outer orbit. And also you know that to remove these 4 electrons, it is very difficult, because there will be electrostatic attraction of nucleus also acts on that. So means here we have conduction, but that is not in the greater amount, it is also in the controlled amount, in the limited amount. So that's why it is pure semiconductor group, in which actually in this group carbon acts differently. As you know that in the field of organic chemistry, why carbon is different than the other elements in the group, because the size of carbon is very low, very small. So due to its smaller size, it can show the catenation property, and due to catenation property there are large number of amounts, a large number of compounds, simple are there in the organic chemistry. Means carbon can even make bonds between with the carbon, means with single bond, double bond, triple bond, means they can show a number of compounds with the help of some other elements like hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen. Means with the help of these elements it can make the number of organic compounds with the catenation property. So as the other elements have the greater size, and due to greater size there is less electrostatic attraction of the nucleus on the outer orbit electron. So here the outer orbit electrons can be removed easily in comparison to carbon. So these act different than the carbon atom. So carbon shows the due to its smaller size, here the electrostatic attraction of nucleus is very high. So it shows the it always make the covalent bonds in place of ionic bonds. Means here from here it is very difficult to get any free electrons. Means we have to will have to add a large amount of energy to it. Means that will not be sufficient beneficial for us. Actually in our daily life we also we always think about the less need of fuel. Means using less amount of fuel, how can we construct any material which will be useful for us. So I think simply now it's clear to you what is a pure semiconductor group. In this germanium and silicon acts basically as the semiconductor group, because size of germanium silicons are greater in comparison to this, and so that we can easily remove these electrons with the help of adding some energy to it. But at normal temperature these fourth group elements also act as means at room temperature they act as insulator, because it is really hard to remove these 4 electrons from its octant. So that's why to make them useful, or to use them as the semiconductor, we add some impurity in that. Means to increase their conductivity, to increase the number of charged particles here, to increase the simple conductivity of the material, we mix some impurities in fourth group elements, and the mixing of impurity is known as doping. So we dope the element from third group and fifth group in the fourth group element, and with the help of doping we will get new types of material, and that will be of two types. First is if we will add third group element to this fourth group element, means we will mix trivalent atoms to these tetravalent atoms, then we will get a material which is called p-type semiconductor. p-type semiconductor. And second case is that when we add fifth group materials as the impurities in the pure fourth group elements, then due to mixing of these fifth group elements we get a new type of material which is known as n-type semiconductor. Means based on the mixing of atoms in pure fourth group elements to increase their conductivity, there are two types of semiconductor, the p-type semiconductor and n-type semiconductor. These mixed type semiconductors are known as, collectively known as, extrinsic semiconductor. Extrinsic semiconductor. And these pure fourth group elements are known as pure semiconductor or intrinsic semiconductor. Intrinsic semiconductor. So if there is no mixing in fourth group element, then it is known as intrinsic semiconductor, and if there is mixing of any impurities in fourth group elements, then it is known as extrinsic semiconductor. So extrinsic semiconductors are of two types. First is p-type, second is n-type semiconductor. So I think all these topics are now clear to you. Now let's see what is p-type semiconductor and what will be if if we'll add third group or trivalent atom to the fourth group element. So let's see what is p-type semiconductor. So as I told you that in p-type semiconductor we mix the impurity of third group element to the fourth group element. Suppose that here pure fourth group element we are taking germanium as the example. So germanium will have 4 electrons in its outer orbit, and if there is addition of third group element, suppose that I am in aluminium here. So as you know that if we will add one atom of aluminium then in the germanium, so aluminium will have, as you know that it has 3 electrons in its outer orbit. So 3 electrons will make covalent bonding to the electrons of means covalent bonding with the electrons of germanium, but there is a space, a deficiency is created due to deficiency of electron, as trivalent atom has only 3 electrons. So 3 electrons will make covalent bonds with the other electrons of the germanium, but here 1 electron will not get any electron for the covalent bonding. Due to that we can say that here a vacancy or deficiency is created, and this deficiency will have the tendency to attain an electron and to complete its octane. Means to attain its stability, it will always have the tendency to attract an electron here. So means it will act as a positive charge carrier. This vacancy have tendency to attract electron to complete its octane. Means it will act as positive charge carrier. So we call this vacancy, this deficiency of electron, as the hole. Means a hole is a deficiency, vacancy is created, an empty space is created due to this mixing of trivalent atoms, and here a new types of positive charge carrier is formed, which is called hole. Actually hole is nothing but it is only the deficiency place when it will get some electrons from outside, then its octane will be completed, and in this case, in that case, this germanium will be converted into some ions. This time it is just like an atom, and this atom have tendency to achieve a electron, to attain an electron to complete its octane. So we can say that it have tendency to accept electrons. So that's why we call this types of atom is acceptor atom, because it has tendency to accept an electron from the outside. So it is called acceptor atom. And we can also denote it with the help of a symbol. Suppose that I am noting it with the help of this symbol, this. This symbol shows that it has tendency to accept electrons, and a hole is deficiency is associated with it. So these negative signs are showing the electrons of the germanium, and this positive sign shows the deficiency of or hole which have tendency of positive charge carrier. I think this is simple, clear to you. These types of material are known as p-type materials. Means in p-type semiconductor, holes are in the main component or main charge carriers. Means in this case a new charge carrier is formed. In case of conductor, we have only studied about the charge carrier electron, but here a new type of charge carrier will also play a very important role always. Means in semiconductor, in field of semiconductor, we will get two types of charge carrier, not only one types of charge carriers. Means here will be a positive charge carrier as well as negative charge carrier. Negative charge carrier will be electrons and positive charge carrier will be hole. So in p-type semiconductor, yes, positive charge carrier holes are created. Some holes can also be created. Suppose that this atom can get some thermal energy, some thermal agitation from the outside due to collision or due to application of voltage or any other process. So if it will get any thermal energy, then this electron, on the addition of energy, this electron can be easily free from the all forces, and here a vacancy will be created. Means if there will be thermal agitation or if any electron will get energy, then there will be a formation of electron hole pair always. So this electron hole pair is formed. Means due to thermal agitation, here also can be formation of charge carriers, but it will be very few, very amount in that will be very in very few amount, because we have to keep the fact in mind that there should not be thermal agitation, because due to thermal agitation heating property will arise here. So that's why to prevent the heating property, thermal agitation should be stopped. So thermal electrons or these types of charge carrier will be very few, very low in amount. But as you are seeing that if that will be the case, we will have greater number of holes and a smaller number of electrons. So as the holes are in the greater amount and they are producing by two methods, so we call them the majority carriers here, and electrons is in the minority, so we can call it minority charge carrier. Okay, so in p-type semiconductor, holes are in majority and electrons are in minority. Means here both types of charge carriers can be possible, but in both types of charge carriers only the hole will be in majority and some electrons will be in minority. So I think this is simple, clear to you what is p-type and how it is formed, and how a hole is created in it, how majority charge carrier and minority charge carriers are created in this. So this is the concept of acceptor atom. Suppose that in this concept here, suppose this vacancy will get some electron from outside. So due to acceptation of electron, means due to acceptation of electrons, this vacancy will be fulfilled and this octant will be completed in this case. So it is getting electron from the outside, then definitely it is accepting electron. It will have the charge on a negative charge on it, and it will be, the atom will be converted in this case into ions. Means hole will be disappeared from it. So we can call this sign only as the acceptor ion. Clear? Means if this hole, this vacancy will get some electron from outside, then it will be disappeared. Means that vacancy will be fulfilled and atom will be converted into ion. Clear? In the same manner, we can also define what is n-type semiconductor. So let's see what is n-type semiconductor material. So in the case of n-type semiconductor, as I told you that we will add the impurity of fifth group element, means pentavalent atom will be added to the pure fourth group element. So suppose again we are taking the example of germanium atom. So in germanium, as you know that in the outer orbit there will be 4 electrons, and if we will add some pentavalent atom, suppose that phosphorus is adding here, So due to addition of it, as you know that it will have it is pentavalent atom, means there will be 5 electrons in its outer orbit. So 4 electrons will make covalent bond between with the germanium electron, and 1 electron will be here free from the its covalent bonding, means its octant is now completed, and here is an excess of electron is present due to addition of pentavalent atom. Like in the p-type material, there will be the creation of a hole, a deficiency. Here is the creation of excess of electron, and this excess of electron is bonded weakly with the weakly bond with the this nucleus of the germanium, means it will get some energy from outside, very few amount of energy, it will be easily, it can be free. So here we can say that charge carrier electron is created in these types of material, so that's why this is known as n type material. And means here the charge carrier, main charge carrier is electron. In the case of p type, there was the main charge carrier was whole positive charge carrier, here the charge carrier is negative charge carrier. So obviously, as you know that to attain its stability, its octant is already completed, so that's why germanium will have the tendency to remove this electron from its octant, from its atom, means it will have always to donate this electron. So that's why due to its fission property, it is called donor atom, and it can be written in the form like this, means this plus sign shows the its donor property, means it have tendency to donate the electron, and this sign is shows that the one electron is excess electron is associated with this atom. So I think simple what is n-type material and how it is formed, it is clear to you. Again in this case, also due to thermal agitation, due to supply of voltage, there can be some breakage of covalent bonding takes place. So if suppose that this covalent bond will take place and this electron will be free, so yeah, here will be a vacancy will be created. So number of excess free electron will be increased here, means and some number of holes will be created here. So in this case, as the number of electrons are greater in comparison to holes, so these are in the majority and holes are in the minority here. So we can say that in n-type semiconductor, electrons are in majority and holes are in minority, means very few amount of holes are also present in the case of n-type material. So I think this concept is now clear to you. So again, suppose that this electron will be donated to any atom or any p-type material or anywhere. So if it will be donated by it, then its octant will be completed, it will get a stable condition, and obviously due to donation of electron, it will get some positive charge. So means it will be converted into ion, then that time it is known as donor ion, and it can be denoted as this only plus sign. Means electron is disappeared from the atom now, and it is converted into ion. So I think this is simple, clear to you what is the n-type material, and this donor atom, what is donor ion in this case. So in both types of materials, we add some impurity always, means trivalent. If we will add some trivalent impurity, there can be different result, and if we will add pentavalent impurity, there can be different result. That means in the case of semiconductor, we got two types of charge carriers, means obviously you can think about that. If we have two types of charge carriers, then we can use them in a very huge manner, means in variety of fields we can use these types of charge carriers or these types of materials. So p and n type extrinsic semiconductors are useful to make the electronic devices, to construct the devices, and for the construction we add both types of devices, because one is acting as the positive charge carrier, means one has the efficiency of positive charge and one has the efficiency of negative charge. So if we will add both of them, then due to their addition a device is formed which is known as semiconductor diode. Semiconductor diode. Okay. Or we can also say that this p-n junction diode, means here p and n types are diffused together, means a junction is formed here, so that's why due to its property it can be also called the name a p-n junction diode or semiconductor diode. So first device we can make with the help of p and n type material, which is semiconductor diode, and this device replaced successfully the diode valve. As in case of diode valve, there was a problem of heating of cathode and chamber, vacuum chamber in which it is placed. So that discrepancy is also removed here, because here the charge carriers are produced with the help of the mixing, with the help of the doping, not due to the heating of cathode. So that's why the here heating effect is very few, means the heating effect is negligible. So we can use these types of devices for continuous application, means continuous use of electricity. So in the next class we will study about semiconductor diode or p-n junction diode. So I think the basics are the basics of electronics and semiconductor devices are now clear to you. So in next class let's start some devices and with the starting of p-n junction diode. I think all concepts is now clear to you. So let's end the class here. Thank you.